Hello, I'm Lemisile Pamela Ngubane, and this is the Entity Dynamics podcast. Entity Dynamics is a culture development consultancy where we believe that culture creates behavior and behavior creates reality. So the title of this episode is A Culture of Making Love to Yourself as the basis of self-healing and self-care. So obviously we have a concept called making love, but it actually doesn't mean what we've been told it means. And the first reference that you find to this with its real meaning is in Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream, where Lysander is defending his right to marry Hermia. And the guy who Hermia's father wants her to actually marry Demetrius. So Lysander accuses Demetrius of making love to Helena, who is Hermia's friend. And then also in Edith Wharton's The Age of Innocence, Elena Olenska says to Newland Archer, "Don't make love to me. Too many people have done that." And Newland says, "I've never made love to you, but you would have been the woman I married if I had had a chance." Okay. So in both instances, they're saying making love means to speak words and take actions that make a person fall in love with you. So that's what it means. So a culture of making love to yourself means speaking words and taking actions that will cause you to fall in love with yourself. And obviously, if you love yourself, then you will be much more motivated to do the things for yourself that are good for you and to take actions whose consequences are for your highest good, right? So, one might think, okay, this sounds a little bit odd, but think about it. We all talk to ourselves every day. You'll be like, oh, I need to go to the shop and I need to get rice, milk, bread, maybe some cookies. Oh, yeah, and I need some mince. Oh, yeah, and more milk too. You're talking to yourself, right? So talk to yourself and do actions for yourselves that make you fall in love with yourself, okay? Because when you fall in love with yourself, you also start to be like, I don't actually feel well today. Let me rest, okay? Or, I really ought to drink more water. It will make me healthier. Or, I really don't actually like going to that place because I feel like the vibe is just not for me. So I'm not going to go because I want to take care of myself. You see? So if you want to practice better self-care, then you have to make love to yourself and make yourself the object of your own affection, and also like in a relationship, if you don't love yourself first and put your needs first, not in a selfish way, like I've always said, but like in a real way, like people, places, and things. These are the things we interact with all the time. If you don't love yourself, right, and you're in a relationship, you will probably, most likely, not have any boundaries with the person that you're in a relationship with, right? Because you not loving yourself means that you're not going to take care of yourself. And how do you take care of yourself? You have boundaries. Boundaries are like borders. It's like a borders of a country. A country has borders so that it can protect its territorial integrity. Same wise, you as a human being need to have boundaries like borders to protect your integrity, the integrity of your body, your mind, your emotions, and your soul, your consciousness, right? If you're going to just let anyone or any influence come into any of those fields of your being, you are not going to function well. You're not going to function optimally. And you might end up actually getting sick or even worse in some terrible situation that might take your life, So you have to have boundaries. And unfortunately, a lot of us have been through very traumatic experiences growing up. If you're in your 40s like I am, pretty much it's almost 100% certainty that you've gone through something that has traumatized you and has made you feel less than what you are. And that has made you feel that, well, maybe in order to avoid trauma in the future, I must just, play it small. And if someone wants to come to me with like bullying vibes, I should just, submit and, not do anything to make that person feel inclined to harm me. That's obviously not the way to go about it. And that's exactly how people end up staying in abusive relationships, right? But nonetheless, some people are in environments like this. Maybe they've got parents who are overbearing, or some sort of guardian, or some sort of sibling, whatever. But even in those situations, you can still practice self-care, still make love to yourself, obviously with putting up these boundaries, right? And these boundaries don't have to be like overt, like, in someone's face, like, this is my boundary, don't talk to me, or whatever. But they can be very psychological, spiritual, so let's say someone says something rude about your weight or something, then you can just mentally say, this person is obviously projecting their low self-esteem onto me. Shame, poor them. Let me do what Christ said and pray for them. God, please help this poor person heal the trauma that makes them want to make me feel bad, because we all know that misery loves company, right? But it starts with loving yourself. You have to love yourself to be able to say to yourself, girl, don't even worry about that person. They've got issues. They don't like themselves and they want to make me feel bad. So they're not the only one feeling bad about life and about themselves, right? So people, places, and things. Now, when you're having better boundaries, then you also know that you have people, places, and things that you need to avoid, and also people, places, and things that you need to go to, right? And so when you love yourself, you know the people that you want to be around. In fact, you start to attract associations that reflect the good vibes that you feel about yourself and that you want to put out into the world, right? So you'll tend to meet people who, let's say you're into gardening, and now you've put up your boundaries, you love yourself, you've told yourself, you know what, I need to dedicate 3 days of the week to my garden. And you do your garden, and now you like going to the nursery to maybe buy a few more seedlings of whatever it is you want to plant. And then you meet some people who are very interested in gardening. And next thing you know, you're in a gardening club. And it's so cool because now you're vibing with people who love the same thing that you love. You know what I'm saying? Similarly, places you go to. So now obviously you've gone to this thing, you've met the people, you like the gardening, but then it just opens up like more like, what if I start a nursery? That could be a job I love. It would be a career that totally resonates with who I am, because you've been loving yourself. You've been telling yourself, girl, you deserve to have a career that reflects who you are and fulfills you personally, because you love yourself. You've taken yourself to the gardening show or the gardening expo because you love yourself, So this is what it means to make love to yourself. And we need to do this, like I've been saying the whole time, as actually a culture of economic consciousness, because the economy, the primary factor of production in any economy, it's not the land like the Marxists are going to tell you, it's the human being. You as a human being are the cornerstone of your economic development. And economic development is about working with what you have, maximizing its potential to create the life that you want. That's economics, and when you are loving yourself, then you are not just building for the sake of survival, but you're actually going up through Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs to self-actualization level in what you're building for your life. You know what I'm saying? And so, let's establish a culture of making love to ourselves, saying the things and doing the things that will cause us to fall in love with ourselves. And one of those things, very importantly, is having boundaries with anyone in any relationship. It's not selfish to know that there are people, places, and things that you are not interested in, and that there are people, places, and things that you simply have to interact with for the sake of your own personal development. And you know what? Life will celebrate you, reward you. You'll have so much peace. You'll glow up. You'll look fantastic because you're doing what God put you on this planet to do. You'll be in alignment with your creator, and only good can flow from that. So I hope you enjoyed this, and please like, share, and subscribe, and tell me what you think. And let's have a conversation, and good night. Bye.